Okay. Welcome back. And this one is for the sole purpose of inspiring you. Yes, you. This is for the sole purpose of inspiring you, man. This is inspirational. What I mean by this is that, I talk to people every day. I think obviously because of my line of work and also just because I just love to talk sometimes. Sometimes I get too much of a talker and it's not a good thing. And as people, man, in this journey of life, we go through stuff. You know, you might be a student and you are there and you're failing and things are not going well, and you're thinking that you are just there by yourself. You might be someone who's looking for employment and things are just not going right. You're getting rejection offers and stuff like that. So, that's what, people go through, and sometimes, you see, I always say this to my students that you see someone rolling in a BMW or in a Mercedes Benz and stuff like that. All you see is the Mercedes Benz. You don't see, the hard work that actually went through it and stuff like that. So in this segment, I just wanted to repackage some of the videos and actually just to let people tell their story, man, of how they went through hardships and then how they overcame and and stuff like that. Like stories which are inspirational, something that you'd watch and be like, you know what, I can do this. Because the chain is like that. Sometimes you'll actually go down, sometimes you'll go up and stuff like that. Life works like seasons. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm doing in this video with now Motimele. And, you know, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Because actually, the thing that I'm so much against is that that's why I believe in telling stories and I believe in this whole thing that I'm doing here of content creation, because stories are very powerful and someone's story can change your life and can change your trajectory and you can start viewing yourself in a different light. Because I usually tell my students this, when you come to university, especially vets, and stuff like that, there's a lot of toxicity that comes with the concept of failing. The moment you get to vets, well, let me not talk about vets, but the moment you get to university, you hear these words, cost chows, like cost chows from China, and you start believing those words. You start believing that indeed cost chows and I'm going to be chowed. So those kind of things, they limit your belief in yourself and they believe in what you're trying to achieve. But what we don't do is that we don't tell the good stories. We don't tell the stories of overcoming. We don't tell the stories of going through that and winning. We don't tell the stories of actually winning. That there are students, guys, who just win. They just come. I know them because I'm a lecturer. There are students who just do well. Like from first year, they just do well, you know. But the story that we're gonna tell is we're gonna tell that no cost Charles. But equally, there are students who are doing well. There are people who are graduating and stuff like that. So I just want to repackage some of the videos, man, to tell the good story, to tell inspirational stories, something that you'd watch and be like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And let me tell you this, you're going to do that. Whatever you want to achieve, you're going to get there. So let's get into the video and listen to now Motimele.
Yeah, it will. Okay, so today I'm joined by Neo Motimele. Neo Motimele is an audit manager at one of the big four. As you've already heard, that she loves audit. She started as an associate in one of the big four. What is an associate?
Just a trainee. It's a fancy name of
Oh,
saying
just a
you're a
straight.
trainee.
Oh, okay, fancy. You guys are fancy, huh? Okay. So she started as an associate in one of the big fours, and she then went on to become a senior associate at the same big four company. And then after that, she also was a senior associate in the big four, but at USA. We're going to talk about that as well. And Neo holds a Bachelor of Accounting Science and a postgraduate diploma in accountancy, which is, I think you guys call it CTA, from VETS. You come to VETS, right? Um, Then you came to vets, do your first year there. How was your vets journey?
I think, like I said in the beginning of the video, it was hard. More especially the transition from, moving from high school when I was in Limpopo to coming to Gauteng. I felt the place was very fast paced. Like Joburg as a whole. Let me just leave vets outside for now. Joburg as a whole, the life, I felt it was very fast paced. I remember calling my mom saying, hey, I think I need to come back. But also, I had gotten an opportunity to go to Stellenbosch. So I was calling her and I was like, maybe I think I should go to Stellenbosch because
Stellenbosch,
Gauteng is very, very fast paced. And I don't know how to cope, how to keep up. And once I got used to the environment, I grew to love it. And I think one thing about me is that I'm very adaptable. So if I can't change, I think one thing that my mom taught me is that if you can't do anything about the situation you're in at that point in time, instead of complaining about it, find something nice or bearable about it, to work around it. So I think as time went on, I grew to love it. It was such a difficult time in my life from an academic perspective because you sort of always had to we were always challenged in the school of accounting. You are always challenged. There's no time, there's no test that you will write and feel like, yeah, more I will pass. You always come out saying, hey, even a 40 will be fine. But I'm so grateful that, I did not walk that journey alone. I walked it with the support structure that I got at home. I walked it with God as well. I'm a very firm believer of God. Like we've already noted, I grew up in a ZCC church. So I'm very grounded and very God-based. So I did not walk that journey alone. I walked it with God. I used to go to the ZCC structure. My family, I feel the structure really also played a very huge role in me finding a home in vets and finding, a community that makes it a bit more bearable to be there. And even when course is chowing, at least you have people that you can cry to, you have friends. I got a lot of friends from the structure. So I think my vets journey was not easy, but I want to highlight that I passed the record time because of the support structure and because of God, because of God and because of hard work as well. Like when that test will come as a 40, you're like, hi, let me go to the library and put in a bit more work. And I feel like I was always like that student who was always in the library. So each time my test during the year would come as a fail, I never took it as, hi, I'm not doing enough, or maybe I should stop studying because I'm failing. But I took it as, okay, I'm failing with a 40. Let's see if next time I can fail with a 45. And then next time maybe I can fail with a 49. But at least it's a progressive fail. I always had that mindset. Like, I'm failing, yes, but at least it's a progressive fail. And I know at the end of the day I will pass. And that was my conviction, and that was my faith that, yes, I'll fail during the year, but I will pass at the end of the year. So I think, yeah, that was my vets journey. It was a challenging journey, but the support structure really made it possible.
Hey, yeah, no, I think I think all of us have our fair share, of going through university. I think it's never. Otherwise, if it was not challenging, then it was not. It has to be challenging because it's a new developmental stage that one goes through.
Yeah.
And I think all of us can, whatever university journey, I think everyone who went to university probably have a story about, the fair challenges that they've been through and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think the accountants that are going to be watching this, or the students who are going to be watching this, I think, yeah, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
There is. And I think the main thing to take out of any university career and any university experience is that you shouldn't stop. I know that, like, when someone hears this recording may feel, but I already failed. I'm already repeating, a class. So when are you saying you passed with record time, but I'm already repeating a class? Does that mean I'm not going to make it? And it goes back to that thing that we said, it will end up in CASA. You keep the faith and you keep pushing. And you understand that your journey is yours in its uniqueness and it's different. You get what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, you need to walk that journey. on your own. You get what I'm saying? So don't look at, yes, Neo, they passed record time, and draw that inspiration. But always remember that you still need to walk your journey, and you still need to fight and to grow a thick skin, because unfortunately that's how you get out of university. You need to grow a thick skin, and when it beats you down, you need to get up and face it again and try again. And there's no other way I can put it but to say that, so you need to, I think if there's one thing that I would want the graduates to take out of this conversation right now, is to remember that when the tough gets going, you roll up your sleeves and you get to work. And you believe and you have faith that things will work out at the end of the day.
You're giving me Oprah Winfrey vibes. Hey.
Well, I'll drink to that.
No, really. No, really. That's that. The way you have said that, you have said it. I think, even me just listening to you, I'm just having that thing of I feel like enrolling for another degree, just hearing you speak like that.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's also not impossible,
Yeah,
it's not impossible.
True. Did you just say qualified? Isn't qualified CA? Am I missing something here? Tell us more.
So yeah, I completed the 7-year journey. Yeah, it was such a hard one. And maybe just to give you a little bit of background, I know I've been saying this a lot. So I'm a proud Wits alumni. So I did my undergrad and postgrad at Wits. So CTA, like everyone, if you talk about CTA, everyone will tell you, I got traumatized by CTA. So I also echo the same sentiments. I was very traumatized by CTA. And then I did my training at one of the big 4 firms. And I just completed last year. So now I'm eligible to register as a CA.
There's this thing that I see that you guys like to say, especially when I'm on LinkedIn, when people get that psycha, I think it's an SMS or something like that, where they tell you that you're officially CA. They always say this, that it ended with CASA.
Let me tell you, everyone wants to say it ended with CASA because the journey is not easy. If we're being honest, the journey is brutal. The journey requires a lot of resilience, and when it's done, it's such a, it's a sigh of relief, when you finish the journey, and you can, it's so surreal how it's 7 years of hardship and it just ends up in a certificate. It ends up in a certificate or 4 letters of saying you are a CASA, but the hardship that had to go in there is just immense. So yeah, I think it's everyone's dream to say it ended up in CASA. I mean, I can't wait to say it ended up in CASA on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I mean, I love the pun. I love the pun about it because there's a pun about it. So when you say it ended with CASA, yes, you're also meaning that the journey, the thing, the journey, studying and everything, it ended up with CASA. 100%. But also your name ends with CASA.
100%.
The pun.
100%. I totally agree with you. I think it's, like I said, it's such a surreal thing, and it's such a, when I got, because, when we do our CASA sheet, it's something that a lot of people don't know until they get into the firms, that as you go through your training, you need to be signed off from your training. So you just don't pass your board exams and then you are a CA. You still need to do the 3 years, and there are certain competency requirements that you need to obtain in order to end up being signed off as a CASA at the end of your 3 years of training, right? And it can either go 2 ways. You can either be signed off or you can either not be signed off. I remember when I got my SMS that I finally got signed off, I finally felt like I could breathe, like that sigh, and the excitement of now going to LinkedIn and changing my profile to say eligible to register as a CASA. It's exciting, it's very exciting. And yeah, I like that. I never thought about it being a pun, having a pun there, but I like that. Yeah, I can't wait to write it. Ended up in CASA.
No, it will happen soon. Actually, True. And then you go through the whole vet system and the CTA and stuff like that, and then you then graduate and all of those types, and then you get into the workforce. How was your journey there, post graduation?
Sure. Yeah. Yo, where do I start? First of all, I actually didn't
Wow.
want. Let me just put it out there. When I was at Vets and we were applying for like our training, right? I didn't think
Yeah.
I would end up in a big four firm. Um,
Oh.
I thought I was going to go to a bank. Actually, I interviewed with a lot of banks, you know, because when you're at Vets, or at whatever university, like banks are more prestigious. Going to a bank, it's a bit more prestigious, purely because of, you get paid more and you get paid well there, as opposed to anywhere else.
Oh.
So obviously, I wanted to go to a bank. I was very looking forward to go to a bank. I interviewed with a lot of banks, and I did pretty well until the last stage of the interview, and you get told no. And I remember the big four firm that I currently work with now was the only big four firm that I had applied for, and I don't know, I just felt like their values were aligning with my own values, and my biggest value is to see black talent being escalated, not necessarily escalated, but being, how do I put it in a nice English that is not controversial,
Yeah.
but like putting a place where black talent can be nurtured and can be, grown, and that big four firm spoke to me, it spoke to my values, and I told myself, if the banks don't work out, I'm definitely going to this one. And fast forward, I applied and they took me. The banks didn't take me, and I was like, okay, I guess God is just saying go to that big four firm, right?
Yeah.
And I won't lie to you. I know that for people who have been through the system, they'll tell you that it's not easy. But I'll speak about my journey and I'll speak about what I experienced, right? When I got in, I'm in the mining industry. I'm auditing mines, right? And I got put on one of the biggest mines in the continent of Africa, you know, and a listed client. So you can imagine, I don't know, I just felt that it was God, because that client was very also forward about saying, we want to see more black faces in your team. We just don't want to see a team that is made up of one race. We want to see a mixture of races, a balance
Wow.
of races. So when I got into that team, my partner, my boss at the time, very supportive. My manager, my seniors, very, very supportive. Like, very supportive people. And I was literally given a platform to ask whatever questions I wanted to ask. They coached me about the work. Like, when I got into this firm, I didn't know how to use Excel, like something as simple as Excel. But, they took their time. Even the firm itself took its time to teach us, to equip us, about learning how to use Excel so that you're efficient on the job. So the transition really was not that difficult because I had the support structure. And I think for me, it will always be important to overemphasize the importance of having a support structure as a trainee from university. Because at that point, you need all the support you can get in order to have a good career going. So when I joined the team, listen, that was the best team of my life. Like, I still feel like I'm still looking for a better team even now after articles. I had the support, but also the exposure. They exposed me to a lot of things. You can imagine auditing a
Sure.
listed client, auditing a big, coal mine in Africa. You get the exposure. All the transactions that you can think of in accounting, you were getting exposed to those things. And you had people that trusted you to do the work and to deliver. So I think my transition really from university to the workspace was not that bad because of the support structure. And I think if there's one thing that I would want trainees or students to take, students that are leaving university to the workspace to take, surround yourself with people that will support you. Surround yourself with people that will not get tired of explaining concepts over and over again. And take ownership of your own journey. I used to ask a lot of questions. I remember that my first feedback, my senior was like, now you ask a lot of questions and we don't even have time to do our own work. And for me at the time, it was so funny. But fast forward to when I became a senior associate, my same senior at the time was a manager, and he said to me, you know, you being able to ask those questions made you the senior that you are now, because you know so much about audit that it just blows my mind. And I think, yes, you can have the support structure, but you need to take the learning into your own hands. Go out and ask questions. Don't sit in your own corner and hide. Ask questions and ask for help. And I think that's what will make your transition to from university to working place a bit better and bearable.
Whew. Wow. This is a thesis, you know?
Yeah, I should just write a book.
You should just write a book. Like, yeah, definitely. You should write a book, because I feel like you have the snatches that I think people should actually know about and should actually read about.
Yeah.
So auditing minds. Tell me how exciting and I'm not an accountant. I don't understand what you guys say when you say you audit and stuff. Mm-hmm. But tell me about auditing a mind. Like it sounds like, wow.
Listen, I've never audited anything else but a mind, right? But and people always say audit is the same, whether you're auditing a bank or whether you're auditing a mine, it's the same. But auditing mines is amazing because you actually get to go to the mines. You actually go. I remember we went to one of the coal mines in Mpumalanga. They supply Eskom with coal. And we could literally see the supply chain, like from the time the coal is mined to where it gets washed, to how it moves with those conveyor belts, to where it's supposed to go. Fascinating. Like it's not just you behind the computer doing the numbers. You actually go and do field work as well to see, you know, how the mine operates, and you get to understand what engineers get to do on a daily basis. And I think that is very exciting, you know. And one thing about the mining sector is that there will always be something challenging. You know, when there was COVID and the mines were still operating because they were like I forgot the term. But they were like the essential services. I don't know. I forgot. Yes. So
that's the one. Yeah.
We would still work, you know, and people. Yes, we were working from home, but we were working, and you sort of saw how. Like I feel like we could see the real impact of how COVID and Transnet not working properly actually in real time. How does it affect the business at the end of the day? And you sort of. It moves from being just a news headline to being real life experience. This is how it actually affects. This is how it affects the revenue. This is how it ends up affecting the profit of the company. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
So you were actually part of the essential workers at the time.
Well, as an auditor now, I was just auditing a mine that was an essential, you know. Because imagine if they were to say stop producing and then there's no coal that's going to Eskom. We're already having issues with Eskom. So imagine if they were to say no coal going to Eskom, so no electricity for that whole duration. So yeah, it was quite fascinating. I'm passionate about audit.
Audit. A lot of people are complaining about audit. They find it challenging.
Yeah.
You know?
I also think 3 years ago I wouldn't say this, but yeah. Here we are.
Okay, so 3. Okay. But what about audit? What is it that excites you about audit other than the other stuff of accounting?
I think the space, more especially if you're in Big Four, like if you find yourself in Big Four, the people really make your career. Like I've always been saying that if you go to a firm and you do your training and you have a support system, you're going to fall in love with the job. Because what we do, people like saying what we do is repetitive. It's not as challenging, but the environment makes it enjoyable. The environment makes it what it is. So maybe I'm more interested in the people more. Maybe I like the people more. I don't know, but yeah. I find that it's very enjoyable. Like I enjoy what I'm doing because I have a support structure and, like you have people that are backing you all the way and people that are willing to teach you. So, yeah.
So then would you say it's very important as a graduate, as when you're looking for a corporate to join, to look for the support system? And how do you go about that? Because maybe you don't know, you're still a graduate, you have never been there. How do you assess if maybe you're going to be supported like the way you're saying?
I think Like I know when I was at Wits, during my student days, companies would come to our school to pitch about their companies and sort of recruit us, right? I think students and graduates need to ask the right questions. The issue of the femme culture, people need to understand, and just outside of, meeting those recruiters, do your own research about the firm or about the company. Or, I mean, banks are also giving the graduate program or like the trainee program, right? Ask the right questions about the femme culture because I think that's what will shape your experience. Like everyone can do the job. Everyone can go into the work and learn how to do the job. But the issue here is the femme culture. If you're in a toxic femme culture or you're in a toxic company culture, you're not going to feel like you're doing the right things. You're not going to enjoy yourself there. And you're going to end up feeling like, I hate this. So I think at a
Yeah.
graduate level, ask the right questions, do your research, like talk to people on LinkedIn, go into people's DMs and ask them, do you like being where you are? Do you like, the firm culture at where you're working currently? Because then you will get your answer as to what firm has the right firm culture for you.
Wow. Tell me about this. You are a trainee in a big four. You're just coming straight from varsity. You are learning about the corporate culture and everything like that. How does one has to navigate, corporate as a trainee?
I think I'm going to sound like I'm repeating myself at this point because this is very important. As a
Sure.
trainee, it's very important to build relationships. When you get into the space, I know like I'm talking both relationships with your peers and relationships with your bosses. And the nice thing about the auditing space is that your partners, like the partner is the biggest boss, basically. Your partners are no longer the same as the partners that you have back in the days. They sort of come to you now, like they want to build a relationship with you. So I remember one partner once called me into his office, and they said to me, "Stop hiding behind your laptop. You need to be out there." And that for me was a game changer, right? And it highlighted the importance of building relationships. So I think as a trainee, more especially as a black trainee, moving out of the student phase, going into the training phase, be very intentional about building relationships. Build relationships with your peers, build relationships with your managers and people above you. Because what that does is that you have people, from a manager perspective, you will have people that will speak for you in rooms that you've never even entered. And I know that we see this a lot on social media, right? Saying I pray for people that will talk to speak for me in boardrooms that are it's real, guys. In corporate, that thing is there. Where you will have people advocating for you, people saying, I've worked with her and I know her capabilities, and that will open doors for you. So it's very important, like, in order to navigate, you need to have the right people in the right places. And I think that also just speaks to the negative things that you will experience in corporate, right? The how do I say it? Like, it's not always going to be a positive journey. It has its own challenges, and those challenges, if you have the right relationships in place, you're able to go and speak to your senior manager, your director, and say, listen, I have a problem with this and I need your help. And you are able to sort of get a solution because you have people with the right amount of power to speak for you and to sort of solve your problems that you maybe at the trainee level you can't solve. So I think that is very important. Another thing is join societies. So as a black person, I am part of Abasa. Abasa is a society that is there to push the black and transformation agenda. And we are saying, oh, they're saying that they want to be a voice to the black people in corporate. As you are, like going through the corporate journey, you want people that will give you the right opportunities that speaks to your growth as a black person, but you also want people that will challenge the big corporates that are there, that will challenge your professional bodies when things are not done the right way. So, in as much as it's important to build relationships outside of, I mean, in your firm and in your company, it's very important to also have those relationships outside of your firm. So, join APASA, join APSIB, join all these NPOs and bodies that are there to make your transition as a young professional easier. And I think that's my best way of, you know, going through the system. And it has worked for me. I've seen it work, and I think it works.
Wow. It does work. It does work, definitely.